Alright, so I'm going to show you the remaining editing tools here. So this will be 11, 12, and 13, and then I'm going to quickly breeze over these touch-up tools. You're probably not going to use these very much, but I'm going to breeze over them just to give you a quick demonstration so you kind of have some idea of what they're for. So the first tool we're going to look at here is the clone stamp tool. The clone stamp tool gives us the ability to do exactly what it says, clone an area. So I'm going to do the Game Ball series text here as an example. So I'm going to hold down the control key and notice the cursor changes to a target. And if I click, that designates, when I control click, that designates the beginning of where I want to clone from. So if I go ahead and create a new layer and I want to add the Game Ball series again above, I can clone that there, and I can also clone it below if I would like to, and I pretty much clone it wherever I want to on the basketball. So it gives me a chance to, you see the cursors moving at the same time, gives me a chance to clone something and put it wherever I would like to from a source. Okay, so I'm going to hide that layer and go into the next tool. This is called the Color Replace tool. I'm actually going to duplicate the background here by right-clicking, click Duplicate Layer. So I'll work on the copy, not the actual background itself. And I'm going to select green as my colors. I want to turn my basketball green. You notice the tolerance here is set low. That is so that I don't lose any of the black. And you'll see when I start to color, it actually replaces the orange of the basketball with a green, but if you look closely you can see that it keeps the texture and shading information. It's darker in areas where the basketball is darker. It keeps the little dimples on the ball intact as a texture. So this color replace tool is really nice if you are trying to, say, change the color of a basketball or something else and you want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and hide this background copy, and we'll go to the last drawing tool, which is, create a new layer here, the drawing tool. And this is nice for creating shapes and lines. If you want to build a character or something like that, you would use these. Let's see. I'll hide the background here so that I can work directly on my layer. Let's say I want to make a face out of shapes. So we'll do a green face with a black outline. Start with that. Let's say I want yellow yellow eyes, so I'll come over here and change this to yellow. Make yellow eyes. And I want a rectangular mouth, so maybe I'll make the mouth blue just for randomness. So there's my little character guy. I just made him out of shapes. I can also use this to make lines. If I want to give him some hair, I can just add little lines on there, make crazy little designs on that. Okay, so your imagination is the limit with the drawing tool. You can use that to build characters, things like that, for an infographic, stuff like that. Okay, so those are the rest of the tools that you will probably end up using. You will probably not use the tools I'm about to demonstrate. They are touch-up tools, mainly for photo editing, like if you're a professional photographer. I'm going to zoom way in so I can show you how these tools work. You see I've used the navigator here to zoom in. You really have to zoom in to use these tools properly and really see how they function. Okay, so I have these nice dimples on this basketball that I've zoomed in on here. And I'm going to go ahead and use the blur tool first. You can see how whenever I click on the blur tool, it just kind of softens that, makes it look like it's a little bit out of focus there. So if you want to soften like skin tone, something like that, that blur tool would be a good tool for you to use. The sharpen tool. The sharpen tool will make an area seem more defined. So it will help to separate the pixel color information and you can see that that area that I just clicked on a few times there gives you more of a definition. The smudge tool, exactly what it sounds like. You just smudge, and it's kind of like smudging paint with a finger, except for it just smudges all the pixel information together. The sponge tool, it takes out color information, kind of homogenizes everything, so it takes the mid-tone and it kind of saturates it with whatever the predominating color is, makes it kind of bland and neutral. The dodge tool will lighten things, kind of take all the information in a pixel area and lighten it. This is like if you're creating a highlight where sun is hitting on something or a light source is hitting on something, you'll use the dodge tool. The burn tool does the opposite. It darkens, so if you're making a shadow, let me zoom out here. Sorry, I got a little carried away and zoomed to the wrong space. So you use the dodge tool here, and you can make a shadow pretty easily. The red eye tool, I really can't demonstrate that on the basketball. Well, I can, but it won't work very well. It's going to turn the basketball black because what it does is it removes the red color channel. Whenever you're working on a computer screen, you have 3 color channels that are in play. You have red, green, and blue. It's called RGB. So what the red eye does, and it's mainly for touching up red eyes on a photograph, what it does is removes the red channel so that the other 2 channels can take over. It's mainly for photographs where you have a reflection in the eye. And then the spot heal, or the heal tool, will kind of, again, homogenize areas. It works on an edge very well if you're trying to blur an edge, or if you have skin tone, again, that you're trying to homogenize and make it all kind of go together to be the same skin tone. It's kind of like putting a base on for makeup for girls. So it kind of gives you, like, makes all your skin tone the same. And then the last 2, pretty straightforward, pretty easy, are the, let me reduce my brush size here. That'll work. I have this bloat tool here, which will make like a bubble whenever I click. So it will make things kind of pop out from the center, kind of a fisheye lens type effect. And then I have the pinch tool, which will basically bring everything into the center of the cursor and kind of collapse it, make it look kind of like a vortex type effect there. So that is the end of all your touch-up tools. Like I said, you're probably not going to use these, but I want you to kind of understand what they do in case you need to use 1 or 2.